But we do have to get this kind of minor headline in, but a lot of people were talking about this today because, as you know, we cover all things about the Trump administration and the key figures within the Trump administration, including the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. Well, this is what we know here, according to the Associated Press. Homeland Security Secretary Noem's purse was stolen at a Washington, D.C. restaurant just on Sunday night. That's according to department officials. Now, the department, in an email, said Noem had money in her purse to buy gifts for her children and grandchildren and to pay for Easter dinner and other activities. Here, you see her in her trip there to El Salvador not too long ago. Now, the department, in an email, did not specify what was stolen, but CNN, which was first to report the story, said the thief took about $3,000 in cash, as well as Noem's keys, her driver's license, her passport, checks, her makeup bag, medication, and her Homeland Security badge to get into the building. Now, the department said Noem had cash in her purse to pay for gifts, dinner, and other activities for her family for Easter Sunday. Now, the Homeland Security Secretary, as you know, is protected by Secret Service agents. The Secret Service referred questions about the incident to Homeland Security headquarters. So it remains to be seen what actually happened, how a thief in a D.C. restaurant got so close to Secretary Noem to steal her purse, and whether or not they're going to find the guy or girl, and whether or not, if they do find the guy or girl, they're going to get the contents of the purse and the purse itself back. But a scary situation for the secretary there on her Easter Sunday. This is the headline there in the New York Post. Take a look at this. Kristi Noem's purse with $3,000 cash inside, snatched by thief during an outing at a D.C. restaurant. Not entirely sure which restaurant there in D.C. My producer is saying, all right, Capital Burger is what we're hearing as far as the restaurant is concerned.
The U.S. Secret Service is facing new scrutiny after Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem became the victim of a brazen robbery. DHS officials say Noem was eating dinner at a D.C. restaurant when a masked thief snatched her purse. Personal items like her keys, her DHS badge, driver's license, and passport were stolen. The bag also contained $3,000 in cash. The suspect hasn't been found, and now there's growing questions about how Secret Service allowed the thief to get so close. You know, Charles, I want to go to you on this because you've brought up the existing crime epidemic in our country already on the show. You know, the big question is this, you know, another case of petty crime, or is there some sort of organized crime, given that it was Kristi Noem? Let's just stick with it being another theft in D.C. D.C. had 4,000 incidents of theft in 2024. I mean, what do you make of this?
No, I think it was just another brazen, random attack, and the confidence that these thieves have in certain areas, right? That A, they'll get away with it, and B, if they get caught, they'll get away with it, right? But what's happened over the years is they've somehow made the criminals the victims. After all of these years of placating and coddling the criminal behavior, they can't get rid of it.
Well, and Harris, why do you think that is? If you have brazen theft happening like this, I mean, with Secret Service in the room.
I have a lot of questions about this. How close was the purse to her? And if somebody can get to the purse, they can get to her. Like, I'm thinking bigger picture now. She's not just a regular citizen. Sure. She's in charge of the Department of Homeland Security, keeping our nation safe. And so if her belongings, like a passport, that's important. You talk about access, and the accountability on this is really what I'm concerned with. Yeah, there's random crime. She's not a random person. Not at all. And so I want to know, how close was this person, her possession? Did this person who stole it also have access to her? That's what I care about at this point, because we've had 2 assassination attempts on the current president when he was running. And I don't want to broaden this out and get everybody scared when they sleep at night, but I'm kept up at night by, okay, well, who hates the country enough to try something else? I want to get to the bottom of who took it, how close they were. We need more information.
Well, that's the other side of this question, right, Rosanna? Is this a Secret Service failure, or was this just a random incidence of petty theft? But here's the other question, though, too. Is Secret Service only on her? Are they also in charge of protecting her possessions? Say her purse was on the other side of the restaurant.
Well, apparently, I've heard some reports from D.C. reporters who said that her bag was down by her foot.
So close.
So it was very close. It was under her foot.
Wow.
And apparently, according to reports that I've seen in the D.C. area, this man was at another table right nearby and somehow used his foot to somehow swipe that bag underneath her foot, with 2 Secret Service keeping an eye on her. And then he casually walks out of the restaurant. It's very suspicious. There's something very weird there, that 2 Secret Service are not keeping an eye on everything. I can understand that, Kristi Noem's there with her family, her grandchildren. She was distracted. She probably had her foot not on her bag, but it was by her foot.
Molly, with the 2 incidences, attempts on the president's life, does this make you even more concerned?
Well, I was just thinking, I have all these questions about Kristi Noem, and I would love answers. I'm still waiting for answers from what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Like, it is just by the grace of God that President Trump was not killed. Indeed. We all saw what happened there. And we have not had anywhere near the level of information we need about how that happened, who was involved, what's being done about it. And it really makes you think that there has not been the accountability needed at the Secret Service when you have another incident like this that, just happened under their protection.
The perpetrator deceased there, Ryan Ruth's case went through the courts just last week. In that case, of course, they can adjudicate and go through the courts, so we find out more information. But the fact that that was at her feet means that it was close to her person.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some information you can use.
Still a lot of questions, not very many answers.
Snatch. The thief tried to snatch her purse while she was walking down the street. Scrutiny. The Secret Service's actions came under scrutiny after the robbery incident. Brazen. The brazen robbery happened in broad daylight, with no fear of being caught. Epidemic. The epidemic of thefts in the area has led to increased security measures. Placate. The manager tried to placate the upset customer after the incident. Condone. It is difficult to condone such brazen actions when the safety of public figures is at risk. Swipe. The thief managed to swipe the bag without anyone noticing. Perpetrator. The perpetrator of the robbery was later caught and arrested by the police. Adjudicate. The court will adjudicate the case of the stolen bag next week. This robbery seems to be a brazen act, especially considering it happened right in front of the Secret Service. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, was the target of the crime, and it's left many wondering how this could happen. She was dining with her family when the thief swiped her purse from under her foot. Despite 2 agents watching her closely, the thief managed to carry out the act and casually walk away. The scrutiny surrounding the incident is growing, as people are asking how the thief could have gotten so close without anyone noticing. Some are questioning whether this was a random event or if there might be a deeper epidemic of theft in D.C. No one really knows the full story, but one thing is clear: the authorities need to stop condoning this kind of behavior if they want to protect important figures like Kristi Noem. And if no one is held accountable, this type of crime will only continue to grow, and the perpetrator might get away with it again. This robbery seems to be a brazen act, especially considering it happened right in front of the Secret Service. Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, was the target of the crime, and it's left many wondering how this could happen. She was dining with her family when the thief swiped her purse from under her foot. Despite 2 agents watching her closely, the thief managed to carry out the act and casually walk away. The scrutiny surrounding the incident is growing, as people are asking how the thief could have gotten so close without anyone noticing. Some are questioning whether this was a random event or if there might be a deeper epidemic of theft in D.C. No one really knows the full story, but one thing is clear: the authorities need to stop condoning this kind of behavior if they want to protect important figures like Kristi Noem. And if no one is held accountable, this type of crime will only continue to grow, and the perpetrator might get away with it again.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.